All right, so Nikola World 2019 just happened this past week where they officially announced the release of the NZT that they've even had on their website for like a year or two now. And they've added some stuff that it's not good.
Hey, do you want to stay up to date on the latest ATV trails, reviews, and news? Obviously you do. So hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you don't miss our future videos.
All right, so a while back, you might remember us covering this. And I'm talking about the Nikola NZT. I want one. All right, so let me just state right up front, I've been a huge fan of what Nikola has been doing in the off-road market with their electric side-by-sides and just all the advancements and the amazing technology they've been putting in them. I mean, it's nothing less than impressive, but at the Nikola World 2019, they just went ahead and officially released the NZT. Now, you might remember me stating this. To be honest with you, it's kind of ugly. So I was really hoping that they were going to make some changes to the body to bring it down to more of a normal looking UTV or even just one that's not as ugly. So instead, they did the opposite and now it looks like this. Come on, Nikola, like really? That's what you're going to leave us with? Come on. That is ugly. I mean, it's just ugly. So aside from the atrocious looks of this thing, it's pretty freaking amazing. So let's go ahead and break it down a little bit. So first off, let me just say, I am not a fan of enclosed cabs. Totally personal opinion, I get it. I hate them. It makes me feel like I'm more just driving a car than I am in the off-road world or in the outdoor world, outside enjoying nature. Maybe that's not you though, I don't know. But I will say this whole cab can come off. So if you do want to take it off and enjoy the outdoors like a normal person, I don't know. That's an option for you. And then when it's negative 35 degrees outside in the winter, like it was here last year, you can slap that cab back on, crank that heat up and go plow your driveway. And I mean, that thing is going to hold some heat because the quality of that enclosed cab is it's ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous. So there's that. Not to mention, it also has the AC. So I guess if you live in the South or anywhere where the humidity is ridiculous, which I guess is everywhere, you can crank the AC on and pretend like you're driving a car, I guess. As for the power, and you may have known this if you've seen it before because it hasn't changed, it is rocking 590 horsepower with 775 foot-pounds torque. That's correct. You didn't mishear that. 590 horsepower with 775 pounds torque, giving this beast a 0 to 60 of 4 seconds. I mean, come on, like that is freaking awesome. Not to mention, it comes with 35-inch tires. What, seriously? Is that right? 35-inch. What happened to the time when like the Turbo S came out? You remember that? And it was like 32-inch tires. And everyone was like, holy cow, this comes stock with 32-inch tires. We're at 35. We're at 35 now? Like that's crazy. 35-inch stock tires. Now working in conjunction with these 35-inch tires is Fox Podium 3.0 shocks that provide 18 inches of travel and 12 inches of ground clearance. And this is gonna give it an overall stance, by the way, of 72 inches wide. So as we move to the inside of this thing, you will notice that there's not one, but 2 touchscreens in here, a 13-inch touchscreen and a 7-inch touchscreen because, you know, it's 2019 and one touchscreen in your vehicle is no longer enough. And if you want to listen to some sick beats, you're good to go because it's also going to give you a Rockford Fosgate sound system included. All right, now, that all sounds great, but we're talking about a lot of stuff here, and it's electric, and it's huge. So how much are we talking for weight? 5,250 pounds. Yeah, like don't get stuck, right? I mean, honestly, can you imagine if you got stuck? You got your buddy with his razor and his 4,000-pound winch trying to get you out? Good luck. That's a valid point. I mean, that's a valid point. That's a huge machine to have to pull out of a thick mud hole. All right, so moving on from that, when we start looking at distance, because we're talking electric now, fully electric side-by-side, we are looking at a total distance of approximately 150 miles. Now, that is pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good. But without a really good charging system, it's gonna take you quite some time to charge this thing up and get it ready for another ride. And you can get a fast charger. It's a fast DC charger that'll charge this thing up in like 2 hours. But if you don't get that, or if you don't have a great spot to plug that in, if you want to plug this into a 240 volt outlet, like what your dryer's probably connected into, it is still going to take you about 15 hours to recharge this thing. So, you know, if you have a cabin up north or just a, you know, an RV and you want to be able to charge this thing up in between rides, you're going to have to modify some stuff to get this to recharge fast enough to hit the trail before you wake up the next morning. So while we're talking about the electric portion of this, let's keep talking about it. Since it's fully electric, each wheel has its own motor. So there's no central motor in an electric machine like this. Each wheel has its own. And one of the reasons I bring that up is because, for one, you have direct power, and for two, there's no air intake on this. In fact, Nikola claims that you can fully submerge this in water up to 1 meter. So not like just like up 1 meter of the machine, like fully submerge this thing 1 meter, all like the whole thing is in the water for up to 30 minutes at a time. Like that's crazy. So gone are the days where you need to consider snorkeling your machine, which, by the way, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're not gonna have any money for, because the starting price on this thing is $80,000. Let me just say it again in case you thought you misheard. $80,000 is the current starting price on the Nikola NZT. So, you know, you could buy one Nikola NZT or two Turbo S's and still have like 20 grand to modify them, but you know, whatever. That's nuts, man. Now, if you do reserve one, you're gonna start to see it hit the market and quite possibly your doorstep around 2021, because that's when production really takes off for these. So still a little bit out. All right, so my final thoughts on this. Nikola, I think you are making an amazing machine. I mean, what you're doing in the technology is freaking sweet. It's freaking sweet, right? Like, it's awesome. You gotta admit it's awesome. I really wanna drive one. I would absolutely love to play with one and drive one and review one. But I also think it's very specific type of person, like with a lot of money for one, because, for example, luxury is clearly one of the main concerns. And if you're that type of person, like, that's great. I'm not trying to take that away from you at all. You should ride and do whatever it is that makes you happy when you're out on the trails within the legal limits, obviously. But do I think it's going to be out there for the average person anytime soon? No, not really. I think of it kind of like the Tesla. When they were new, they were still amazing, but most of us couldn't afford them. And as time goes on, more and more people are getting into Teslas and the price is slowly coming down. So again, Nikola, the technology, what you're doing, it's freaking amazing. I want to ride one. I mean, it's awesome, but I think it's still going to be a little while before personally I, or maybe you watching, get the opportunity to actually afford this type of machine, and hopefully with some changes. And by the way, if you are watching this and you are that type of person and you are thinking about purchasing one of these, I would love a ride. So in a biased, twisted report, some conservation groups are looking for an outright ban on ATV use in forest preserve lands, as well as just some overall stronger ATV laws. And if you had to guess a state, what would you go with? What do you think? Now, if you guessed California, you would actually be wrong. It's next in line, New York State. Now, the Adirondack Park is a state park in New York consisting of both public and private land. It consists of over 6 million acres and is touted as actually being larger than several national parks combined. Now, according to the Adirondack Council, ATV should be banned from all of it. In a 20-page report, they go on to state things like the Adirondack Park is a national treasure and a statutory ban on recreational ATV use is needed to protect clean water and sensitive wildlife, blah, blah, blah. You know what else helps protect the area? If we fence the entire thing off and let not a single soul into any of those 6 million acres, that's what we should do. How about those gravel roads that you use to get into the park to enjoy it, by the way, or those hiking trails? We should probably just stop all of that right now, so that way we know it's not being touched by any human being. Now, I'm all about creating trails and stating that you must stay on trails. Despite what everyone likes to think, ATV riders actually go out in nature because they freaking love nature, all right? So it's not to simply be destructive and wreck things. So if we want to say that ATVs shouldn't have like free reign of over 6 million acres to ride wherever they want, okay, that's fine. I can get on board with that. But to say that they should be outright banned from all of those 6 million acres is outrageous, especially why everybody else gets to enjoy their outdoor activity. And this report, by the way, is such a joke. It's such a laughable joke that you would assume somebody made it up as satire.
2 hours later.
In fact, for example, on page 6, it goes on to state between 2007 and 2017, 5,459 total tickets were issued on state land. What? Like, what? First of all, that's less than 500 tickets a year for an entire group of people in an entire state. That's all state land, by the way. That's not even just this one park. Like, are you serious? Like, look, you stupid piece of...
Hey, it's a family channel, man. Like, bring it down a little bit. Just you've been rambling for some time. Just calm down and let's keep it together and let's continue.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. It's just crazy. It's insane. For example, did you know that in the state of New York, between the years 2007 and 2017, they had over 7,500 murders? 7,500 murders. That's a real statistic, by the way. You can go look that up. And we're talking about 5,000 something tickets for anything ATV related on all state preserved land. Like, anything looks like a lot when you lump together 10 years. For example, that's a lot of murders. That really is a lot of murders, though, by the way. That's truly tragic. But my point is they're just bringing all this information together to try and make it look like things are worse than they are. For example, those 5,000 something hundred tickets, that's for anything ATV related that could be like just an unregistered machine. I'm willing to bet a lot of those are just for unregistered machines that has zero impact on the land. So don't act like the fact that it's unregistered is somehow correlates to people driving like they're just insane and destroying land everywhere they get the opportunity. Look, my point is this. It's ridiculous to make all these extreme accusations and try and ban ATVs from over 6 million acres of land, especially when this report goes on to discuss so many things over such a large majority of time over the entire state of New York and then some, not just this specific park. All right? ATV enthusiasts have the same right as everybody else to enjoy the outdoors and their hobbies. Should they be riding illegally in areas not authorized for their use? No. Should there at least be designated trails for everyone to enjoy? Frickin' A right there should be. So Yamaha just announced that it will be returning to Loretta Lynn's ranch for its second annual Extreme Terrain Challenge. Now this year it's going to be held from October 4 through 6. Now this event is actually specifically designed for Yamaha owners. That's right, you actually have to be riding a Yamaha to participate in this GPS navigated course that's going to require riders to figure out where they need to go while also navigating all the obstacles Yamaha has waiting for them out on the trails. Now, if you don't own a Yamaha or don't plan to actually participate in the event, it still can be an awesome event for spectators because for one, you get to show up and watch them navigate some of these obstacles, and then Yamaha is going to have entertainment and all sorts of other stuff available there as well. And when you're not enjoying all that, you can just relax around your campsite and have a good time. So it's a 3-day event. It should be lots of fun. Head over to YamahaMotorsports.com, not sponsored, to learn a little bit more about it. And with that, that's all I got. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hope to see you on the trail. Our Fox Podium 3.0 shocks providing 18 inches of ground clearance with 12 inches of travel. Nope, that's the total opposite. Nope, not right. The Adirondack Park, Adriatic.